session. Our next session is Building Community Connections Through Agricultural Literacy Projects. We have Brittany Lardner with us today, the program coordinator at New Mexico Agriculture in the Classroom. And prior to her position, she was an advocate for Bernalillo?
Bernalillo.
I was close. Okay. County. Since 2016, volunteering in schools. She has a bachelor's from New Mexico State University in ag education and a master's from Oklahoma State in international agriculture. So Brittany, I am going to turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Michelle and Tessa and everybody else that's a part of the committee. As you guys can see, I do have a lovely co-host with me. This is Shay Devers, and she is actually one of our new program coordinators that is a part of our team here in New Mexico. So it's wonderful to go ahead and see the growth of our program. Shay has been a wonderful advocate for us as well within the past couple of years with our agricultural literacy project. So that's one of the great ways for us to go ahead and connect was through that project. She was previously an ag teacher down in Valencia County, which is just south of Bernalillo County. And so we've been able to make some wonderful connections with her students. And now she gets to bring all of her expertise on over to us. So I'm excited to have her co-host. If anybody was at the conference in person, you saw both of us talking. It is wonderful to have my voice back. I did lose it while the day before the conference, so I recuperating enough to where I'm able to go ahead and talk without having any difficulties. So we are excited to be here. We're going to go ahead and share the screen now. Let's see here. Oh, and there we go. I think we're getting close here. It's asking for preferences, but there we go. Let me see here, Tessa. There we go. Okay.
Got it.
all of the tech issues, right? So can you all see my screen right now? It should be on.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. We will go ahead and share and present. Okay. So for Shay and I, we were certainly excited to be able to talk to everybody today about being able to build community connections through an agricultural literacy project. Between both Shay and I, we've been able to definitely grow this project, but not only with Shay specifically, I work throughout the state with FFA and 4-H members and anybody else throughout the state that is interested in building an opportunity like this. So having Shay close by definitely filled that gap. But obviously, as anybody that's attending this, middle school or high school teachers, or any community member, or even a state contact for your ag in the classroom, hopefully you'll be able to see the different connections that you can definitely build within your community to make those types of connections. So we're going to actually hop on over to a Jamboard. So Shay, let's see here. We've got our Google little thing. I'm going to pop this on into the comment section here. So I encourage everybody to pop on into this Jamboard here. And what we're going to go ahead and do for you all is provide you an opportunity to kind of connect with us here a little bit to go ahead and talk about the supporters in your community. So yeah, perfect. And so we want to go ahead and kind of see what types of connections do you all have in your communities at the current moment, whether if you're a teacher or if you are a program coordinator or possibly just a volunteer. What are some of those community connections that you have throughout your city or your state? So on this Jamboard, you'll see a big picture that showcases, it says, who's in your herd? And we want to know, who do you connect with in your community? And if you're interested, you're welcome to go ahead and leave your name and email connected onto that specific board, to where if someone sees what type of connection you have, if they want to learn more about that partnership, then we will definitely have that open to where you can leave that. So we'll go ahead and provide just about maybe like 2 minutes or so for people to go ahead and snag a we'll Post-it note and leave it on the board there.
So if you've never used Jamboard before, you go down 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth thing on your toolbar is a little sticky note, and you can type into your sticky note, hit save, and then you can move it on the board wherever you'd like.
So I'm going to kind of showcase that for you all here. So this is what it kind of looks like. This is your Jamboard, and I will let Shay kind of showcase to you all if you have any questions on that, of what to click on here and to actually create and leave your comment.
So you'll go to the sticky note section, type in your comment, and then hit save.
So we'll click like, let's say you work with your local FFA chapter. And then that has been listed. All right. Let's see. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them into the chat or the Q&A. There we go.
Put the link.
I did leave the link. It looks like some people are seeing it, but I'll try and add it to the chat again. You will see it pop up directly from me. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see. There we go. I see that. Okay, there we go. Everyone should be able to see it now. So
Yep,
feel free. Wonderful. Okay, so we're starting to see some flow there. As some people can see, the tech side of working on a presentation here, making sure everybody's able to see stuff. Let's see, Robin, I have no clue what y'all are showing or how to get on that Jamboard. So Robin, if you'll go on into the chat feature, there is a link that I just recently posted, and it's to a site called Jamboard. And it's the one that is currently being broadcasted onto the shared screen. And you'll be able to go ahead and add what type of a group you work with within your community. Okay. Perfect. So now that you guys at least have that kind of going, feel free to continue to add to that, or as you might come up with some ideas. We'll go ahead and revisit this a little bit later on in the presentation so everybody sees it. And then we'll be sure to find a way to go ahead and take a kind of a screenshot of this, and we'll post it onto our Facebook page. It's called New Mexico Agriculture in the Classroom, and you'll be able to see all of the wonderful answers that people have provided within this opportunity. Okay, and then obviously, again, feel free to go ahead and leave a comment or a question, and we'll be able to field those as we go along. So we will keep that going, but it looks like we've got some wonderful participation here. I already see some really great answers. So I'm super excited for that. So thank you guys for adding to the community support there. We will continue on with our presentation here. Let's see, I'm going to move that on out of the way. Okay. So normally whenever we've got presentations here, there we go. Thank you. There we go. Whenever we do presentations, is it always necessary to be that mindset of I do it myself, right? A lot of times as teachers, we can definitely put our heads in the sand and just work on the content that we need to try and either get through the semester or at least even just get through the week. But in the process, sometimes we can feel like I need to do it myself. But thinking about that, Is that necessary? Can there be another way? I do have a little video clip of my sweet niece, Marcy, here.
Yeah. Okay, so look. What'd you find? Don't know yet. Marcy, what is that? That bone? Dinosaur bone?
Brittany, it's Tessa. I don't want to interrupt.
Can I help
Sorry.
you?
It's not showing on my end, I think what you're trying to play. I'm not sure if everyone else, I just don't want you to, okay, like it just loaded to your niece's video on my end.
On your end, okay. Is
So
the
I don't-
screen, okay, when I click the share button there, I do apologize. When I share the whole screen, and maybe that's the case, I don't know. Let's see. When I click present,
I
do
think
you
it
see
was,
any? Do you
no,
see?
it looks like it's kind of stuck being loaded on my end.
In the chat, if anybody can hear me, is everybody else seeing it or is it not playing?
Michelle Blodgett saying that too. So
Oh,
is there
dang.
another way to exit it into full screen?
Let's see. If I keep it off, let's see. If I keep it right here, I do apologize about that. If I keep it on this screen here, I can still play everything. So you guys will still be able to see stuff. It's just, we'll just kind of see some of the side skirts, I guess you can see here. Is that okay?
Yep, yeah, that looks like we're doing a little bit better for view wise. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay, so look. What'd you find? Don't know yet. Marcy, what is that? That bone? Dinosaur bone? Marcy, can I help you?
Okay, so you could kind of hear her towards the end there say, "Mm-mm." So people can offer that help, but it's kind of our perspective of, are we going to accept that help, or possibly is there a way for us to reach out for that help? So throughout our presentation here, hopefully you'll be able to gain some good ideas on how to build your set of resources and outreach. One of those ways that we have is through a project that we have, and it is called our Ag Literacy Project. And it's a wonderful way for our New Mexico agriculture in the classroom to connect to not only those elementary students throughout the state, but obviously from a standpoint of middle school and high school students, to be able to connect with those local elementary students to create a really great community support frame, as well as reaching out to different ag industry leaders and others throughout our city or state, even to garner those resources that are needed to present on a project like this. So a brief history on what our Ag Literacy Project is. Through some great funding and support from our Natural Resources Conservation Service, specifically here in New Mexico, we have a grant with them on a 5-year contract to focus on agricultural literacy. So within this project, we've been within an 8-year run now with this project, going into our 9th. We're super excited about this partnership because we're able to connect the students to agricultural literacy standards, as well as some other content areas that definitely need to be taught within the year, but we can teach it from an agricultural scope, which is a wonderful connection for us from an ag in the classroom perspective, as well as helping those elementary students learn about what types of programs there are within the middle school and high school levels. So when they become eligible to go into those grades, they can join those groups, whether it's 4-H or FFA. The students will have that connection by having those students come into their classroom to present, and they'll remember the moments that they worked with those students. So by a variety of books on this page, these are all the past books that we've presented with, including the Right This Very Minute book by Liesl Deflitson. We were able to hear from her earlier in the program. So we just love the ag literate content books that are available and out there. A lot of these books are also just in connections with the lessons and activities that are on the matrix. And so all of these books, we already have some great follow-up activities. So if a middle school or high school group goes in to present on these, we've got some great connections for them to do some follow-up activities and lessons by following a few links that we're able to provide to them. And I'll pass it on over to Miss Shay for her piece here on the Ag Literacy Project.
Okay, so the Ag Literacy Project, I've been teaching for the past 5 years as the full-time ag teacher. We've done the Ag Literacy Project for the past 3 years. What I really love about the Ag Literacy Project is how it impacts the students. But let's talk about what is the Ag Literacy Project and how does the logistics work together. So the first thing that happens is Brittany, as New Mexico Ag in the Classroom, creates a 60-minute lesson. And then it ties K through 5th grade. She then comes and teaches my kids how to be presenters on this lesson, how to read a book, how to be excited, what the lesson entails, stuff like that. And that helps prepare them for being able to go into the classroom and present. The second thing I do is schedule visits. So I work in a very big district. We have 10 elementary schools and 2 high schools. So what I did was I was like, I'm not sure how to go about scheduling visits, but my kids were like, we really want to do this. And I was like, okay, so let's set parameters. What grades do you want to teach? Where do you want to teach? And then we would go from there. So my kids decided they wanted to see all 10 elementary schools. They wanted to do all 1st through 5th graders at each elementary school. So that's a lot of students. So we went ahead and I reached out to the elementary school principals is how I started. I created an email saying, this is our Ag Literacy Project where my kids will present to the elementary school kids about a lesson on agriculture. It's 60 minutes long. And if I could do these specific grades. I sent that email out in the morning. By the afternoon, I was fully booked for the entire rest of the year. So my kids decided we're going to do it every other week. So we did 2 a month in the 2nd semester. It would be better if we would plan better and do it earlier in the year so that we're not scrambling last minute. But it's just a learning curve, right? So the first year we did it, we actually did it all in 1 month. And that was rough. Every twice a week, we would go in the month of April and do that. So we send it out to the elementary schools. They book a day. We spend the whole day there. We do K through 5th graders. Then we present at the schools. So I didn't have a lot of problems in my district getting the kids off of school that much. My principal was supportive in that matter, that I just put in, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. And my kids were able to stay on track with school because we would rotate kids so that there wasn't so many kids missing school. We go and present to the students and then during those presentations, Brittany has a evaluation form that the teachers fill out. And once we get that evaluation form back, we send it over to Brittany, and that's how she counts how many classrooms we visited and how many students we visited. So yes, does anybody have questions?
If you do, feel free to leave them in the chat. I'm going to pop on over to go ahead and show the video that kind of connects to that to share the full scope of Shay's students after being trained are able to then go out into those elementary schools. And the great part about this partnership, specifically by making that connection with Shay and her students, is that I would never have been able to reach all of those 10 elementary schools, which is over 107 classrooms. That would wear me out pretty darn fast. So by spreading my reach and my training, we're able to make a much larger impact. So we're going to share a little video here.
America students from Valencia High School are inspiring a new generation of children to fall in love with agriculture. They're teaching ag to elementary school students in Los Lunas. Here's News 13's Carla Sosa.
So some different types of pumpkins. There's pie pumpkins. There's jack-o'-lanterns.
Valencia High School students were the teachers this morning at Ann Parish Elementary School in Los Lunas. They were teaching the kids the importance of agriculture in our state. It's all part of the New Mexico Agriculture in the Classroom program.
The initiative really is to go ahead and get students more aware of agricultural concepts. So every year we choose a different book as well as an activity that's connected to it. And it's about an hour-long presentation.
This statewide program started 8 years ago. Today, 8 high school students taught 12 different classes.
We go every other week to a different elementary school. We spend the entire day and we teach anywhere from 12 to last week, we taught 25 different classrooms.
So far, the FFA students taught 110 classes.
It was fun. I enjoyed a lot the activity because we tried new things. FFA is like agriculture and they help like with food, livestock, and other stuff.
Carly Gibson said she joined FFA after she saw the impact this program had on her parents. She hopes the classes inspire a new generation.
I want to spread kind of awareness about what agriculture is because it's really important to our lives.
Carla Sosa, KRQE News 13.
Students also read the book, The Great Pumpkin Smash, which focuses on composting.
Stop with that one down. I don't know how to stop it. Okay, there we go. Sorry, there we go. All right, we're done with that one. The cool thing about showcasing that, you guys, is that we're able to have the opportunity, like I said, to go ahead and connect with those students on a much broader range, right? So even by having Miss Carly share her experience about it, her parents are teachers as well. So by seeing the expansion of it, Shay will go ahead and share even here in a little bit of how this project has even encouraged some of her students to pursue a career in education, which is absolutely wonderful. And that's definitely what we want to see from this, is the growth of other career opportunities, specifically leading on into that education realm for sure.
Brittany, we just have 2 quick questions here that came into the Q&A. One, do you go with your students or can they travel on their own?
So I go with my students. They are high schoolers, so some of them do drive. I have to have them do a release form for that. But I do have a school vehicle that I would travel, take the students with them. And so that's why I kind of got a little spoiled on that end, because that was 10 days out of school, right? So it was a lot of work on me having to do lesson plans. But my administration does let me go with my students. They won't be able to go by themselves. So.
And then the next questions are, do you go out in teams of 2 or 3 kids when you present?
Yeah.
Did all the 10 elementary schools participate, and how many different lessons did they teach?
Okay, so
all good questions.
Yeah. So I normally used to take about 6 to 9 students with me every time I would go out. And that's just because I break them up into different groups. We normally teach 3 to 4 to 5 classes per that 1 hour period. So I break them up into groups of 3, groups of 2. Some of them are a little bit better at presenting. So we would break them up into smaller groups if they were capable of handling the class that way. The other one was, yes, all 10 elementary schools participated. And the last question, I don't remember.
How many lessons do you teach?
So we
different lessons.
teach the one like upcoming ag literacy project. So last year, those 10 elementary schools that we reached, we taught the Great Pumpkin Smash, which is the lesson for 2023. And the year before that, we did right this very minute. And the year before that, we did first P's to the table. So my kids do it a bunch of times. And so by the end of it, they do kind of get a little bit tired, but that's why I try to rotate kids, because then they don't have to do a lot of the footwork themselves. But it does, the same lesson over and over and over again does get tedious to the kids. But we do that so that there's no overlap, like, because if I change the lesson, say we wanted to do the one from 2 years ago, some of those kids have already seen that lesson before. So we always just do the most recent one.
Right. So good questions. Continue to bring those on in as you do, because obviously Shay has a wealth of knowledge about the project and actually seeing it from a teacher's perspective in terms of planning and executing on that end of stuff. I will say, not only do we work with FFA members, I did mention 4-H, but also a really neat opportunity that we had last year was that I actually got to train a middle school English class. So there were 5 middle school English classes that I was able to go train up in Farmington, so northwestern corner of our state. And those 7th and 8th graders within their English class got to focus on some great literacy components, specifically on agriculture, and they then got to go into the local elementary schools to teach as well. So I definitely want to encourage everybody to know that this isn't focused on solely just for 4-H or FFA members. Anybody who wants to be a part of this, we definitely welcome it with open arms. I do see that there is a question from Miss Rhonda. It says, are the previous lessons also available, and are these available nationally or just through the Mexico Agriculture in the Classroom? So Rhonda, these are located on our website specifically. If you will go ahead and even type it into the chat feature here for you to see it, it's www.nmaitc.org. And I'm typing that in. Oh, again, yeah, sorry, I just sent that directly to Tessa. So I will work on that. I'm going to send it on out to everybody. But that is our website. So you'll see it just came through from me. Oh, again, I'm sorry. I did, but there's missing a W. I tell you guys, this tech stuff, we're learning together. It's good. There we go. Okay, so that is our website. So if you click directly onto that, that'll bring you straight to our main page, which will showcase a little link down. Let's see here. I'd even be able to bring it to you so you can see it. This is our main page, and you will see on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen will say Ag Literacy Project. And when you click on that, it will pop up all of the previous lessons and activities that we've done throughout the years. So the Great Pumpkin Smash, right this very minute, all the way down to our very first project of Who Grew My Soup. So wonderful books and connections. You can see that there are the lesson packets, activity packets. There's even an essential elements poster that's connected to the B-Man. Wonderful content throughout all of these. If anybody is interested in receiving the PowerPoints for these, feel free to reach out to us directly. I'll also leave my email address in the comment section. We just don't post those ones just so that way we can try and keep a record of if somebody wants to present on this, we can go ahead and track those numbers directly as well, because we consider those who present on it anywhere throughout the US to be a part of our advocate community. So if anybody is interested, I will leave my email address in the chat feature there. There we go.
So the lessons are up on there, but the PowerPoints are not. So you would have to
Correct.
reach out for the PowerPoints, but all the books and all the forms are on there.
Correct. Okay. And I do see another question in the chat there from Monica. It says, Brittany, let's see. You are the trainer who comes into the classroom. Yes, ma'am. So both myself and now that Shay is on board, we would both go throughout the state to go ahead and train classrooms. I would even venture to say that we could even host one virtually if for some reason a time overlaps something like that happened. And it would be one thing also, Monica, to go ahead and check in with Miss Katie over in New York's Ag in the Classroom to see if they have any close connections and opportunities similar to this. And if not, we can at least provide you the materials to get something like this started. Okay. So that would be one thing, because I know that different states host things in different ways. So they might not offer the Ag Literacy Project in the same way that we do. This is just one way that we're able to utilize the resources and funds through this grant opportunity. But we're happy to share our resources that we do have with anybody around the US that wants to connect their middle school and high school students to some great learning opportunities. One thing that I want to highlight before we keep moving on is the fact that this allows your students to have great leadership and professional development essentially under their belt by presenting to those elementary students. I think a lot of times public speaking can be one of those skills that we don't always have the opportunities to practice and advance in. So by having your middle school and high school students practice with those elementary students, it provides a bit of an ease for them because they're not presenting to their classmates, they're not presenting to adults. So that level of nervousness will be lessened by being able to be in contact with these elementary kiddos. Their eyes light up so quickly when they see a group of FFA members or 4-H members come in when they're wearing their official dress. And it's exciting for them to go in and see someone that is a little closer in age and has that spark and excitement for agriculture. We've seen a lot of great opportunities come through for this program. So in moving on, here's a bit of our why. Why did we complete an Ag Literacy Project?
So my biggest why is because when I started teaching in Valencia County, I had kids come into my class as freshmen and they had no idea what agriculture was. They didn't know where their food came from. They didn't know that agriculture was such a big part of their daily lives. And that really sparked an interest of like, okay, so I talked to my students and we heard about the Ag Literacy Project and we were like, this will allow kids to get some kind of connection with agriculture at a young age, to be able to come up and actually know what agriculture is, and have advocates starting at a very young age. I saw the shift in my students. They get a sense of confidence when they're standing in front of those students because the students are so excited that they're there. And there's a funky part in our Ag Literacy Project where they have to dance. And my high school kids think that is like the worst thing in the world, right? They're like, oh my God, don't
Like
make me dance.
Yeah, so embarrassing,
Yes.
right?
But when they get in there and the kids are excited to dance, it makes them feel better. Like, oh, this is okay. And I can be funky and I can be weird sometimes and we can just dance, party it out.
Right.
It also builds community. So a big thing for my kids was they wanted to use this as a tool to recruit, because unfortunately our county used to be huge in agriculture and now it's not so much. The agriculture is definitely diminishing and the kids we see the separation between ag literacy and current day. And it makes them sad because my chapter isn't growing as fast as they think it should or they want it to. So they knew that it takes a while for them to get to high school, but they wanted to use it as a recruitment technique. So
absolutely. So wonderful connections for her. Why? The big reason for me, obviously coming on into this position to become the Ag in the Classrooms program coordinator a few years ago was the opportunity to go ahead and go around the state and bring kindergarten through 5th grade content using STEM and ag literacy and Common Core standards, bringing that into a lesson to still teach what those teachers needed to bring across to those students. But obviously from an agricultural lens, we have hands-on, very engaging activities to where the kids are actually seeing the reasons why why they're learning certain content in the classroom. So it's a great kind of bridge to that gap. You know, sometimes you'll leave a classroom and the students will say, I don't know when I'll ever use that in real life. But for here, we're able to use that applicable piece, and the students will get to see, oh, so that's why we learned that the other day. Or, you know, I can see how I would be able to utilize that activity in what I'm doing at home. So it's providing a lot of great structural support all around, not only for us, but for those teachers as well. Some of those main community supporters, like we did on that Jamboard a little bit, we're going to go ahead and revisit that here in just a second to see all the connections, but some of the main ones that we use for specifically our ag literacy project is number one, the NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service. They are the funders and supporters of this project. So any purchasing of books, all of the materials, all of the content needs, whether it's printing or even for me traveling around the state to train all of these FFA and 4-H and other high school and middle school students, there is a great support through their opportunity and their grant that we have. So if we didn't have that, this project would be a bit smaller and a little limited on the funding. So we definitely appreciate all of the support that we get from them. For our ag in the classroom, since we are the nonprofit, we are housed underneath the foundation of the New Mexico Farm and Livestock Bureau. So they've been a wonderful support for us throughout the state, as long as our program has been connected with them. And not only for them, but also the county farm bureau. So Shay, for example, she had her students actually go and present in front of the county farm bureau and showcase to them what it was that they were planning on doing. And they requested some support from them. So the county farm bureaus, wonderful farmers and ranchers throughout our state, they want to help these students advocate for their passion, right? Their livelihood. And so making that type of an opportunity available for those farmers and ranchers to see where their funds are going directly is always a great opportunity. And towards the end of our presentation, I've got some wonderful thank you cards on the end of the slide to show that at the end of our projects, we do some great follow-up for that connection. Also, any other local volunteer groups, you can reach out to different grocery stores if you're looking for any donational support, whether it's an actual food item or potentially the serving gloves that we use for the garden in a glove activity. I did list the 6th through 8th grade or 9th through 12th, meaning those middle school and high school students. Also your local library. So if you're looking for a great ag literate book, but don't know where to go, reaching out to your local librarian would be a wonderful connection. They'd love to go in and help you out with the project if you're looking to make one on your own. If you don't want to utilize resources that are already available and you want to spark something on your own, that would be a great resource. A little bit about the School Booster Club. Shay, if you want to mention a little bit on that one.
Yeah, so most FFA chapters or some, it kind of just depends on the teacher and the district, have school booster clubs. We have a school booster club, and what it is it's ran by our parents of our students. They have their own board, like president, vice president. They have their own officers, and they ultimately raise money for my kids. And then when my kids want to do an activity, all they do is put in a request through the booster club, and the booster club funds it. And not to say that the booster club does all the work on the fundraising. It is ran through the booster club, but my kids put together the fundraisers most of the time, and help them do that, if that makes sense. So
yes, absolutely. So if you guys have any other questions on that, we'll actually hop on over to our Jamboard here just to go ahead and see. I see a number of sticky notes on here as well. We've got children's museums, we've got local farm bureaus, wonderful teacher groups within Facebook. That's absolutely wonderful. We do have extension offices, which is a wonderful support as well. Within some of our programming, we've connected with our local, as far as our county or state level extension services, and wonderful connections, which we'll talk about here shortly. I know we're coming close on our time, so we'll be sure to wrap up here quickly. Even historical museums, land grant universities, all of this is wonderful, you guys. Like I mentioned, I'll go ahead and take a picture of this and we'll post it onto our Facebook page. So you guys will have access to seeing all this. So if you don't want to take a screenshot, you can still see all the resources available. Going on through here, obviously the training and presenting process, we have mentioned a number of those opportunities, like Shay got to talk about during the video show. But one of the great things that I do want her to highlight real quick is the story of Isabella and another gal named Story, and how this project kind of amplified their want to go into education.
Yeah, so I have seen a lot of my kids graduate and they don't know what they want to do. They have no idea what careers they want to go to. So the biggest impact this project has had is Story and Isabella both graduated, and Story wanted to be a veterinarian. She told me that since she was a freshman, and I saw her all the way to her senior year, and she's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a vet. And I'm like, go for it, girlfriend. But as soon as she started college, because of the Ag Literacy Project, she changed her degree to elementary education. And she was just absolutely wonderful in the classroom and excited with the students. And you can tell she loved it. She absolutely loved it. And then as well as Isabella had no idea what she wanted to do. She told me she wanted to be an ag teacher. And I was like, that is fabulous. It makes me feel like I've made an impact on her. But she ultimately went into elementary education as well, because she saw the impacts that it made on the kids, and she loved working with the little kids. So it really made an impact on them, and created the career choice. Even the kids that you don't think will be good at presenting or may actually hate public speaking will actually learn to love it, because it helps build that confidence because other kids are excited about it. So that was the biggest impact that it made on those kids, because it helps them figure out what they want to do. Even the kids that don't think they want to be teachers, they still have the experience of being in the classroom.
Absolutely. And kind of just as a wrap up, I know that we're going to shift through a few of the slides, but I'll be sure to add in some of that information onto our Facebook page posting. So that way you guys are all welcome to go ahead and follow those links, because I know that we are wrapping stuff up on our time frame here. The last main slide that I did want to highlight and focus on is obviously after you create those great networking opportunities within your community, whether it's the NRCS, your local farm bureau, or any other, community member, even if it's just an individual who just loves to volunteer and come on into the classroom, we actually have on the right this very minute activity set on our website there. We have a link for this specific thank you letter handout copy that you can print out and utilize. But a big piece is to showcase that thank you for those local farmers and ranchers and community members for providing those opportunities to those students. So what we'll do at the end of the Ag Literacy Project, at the end of the presentation, is those students get to go ahead and write a thank you letter to those members. And then those FFA members, they can either give them directly to those community members, or if they'll give them back to me, I can pass them out as I go around the state and work with those members. So it's a wonderful way for me to reach out and say, Farmer Johnson, this is a great opportunity. I have a thank you letter from those students. And you can see from those pictures there, if I zoom in on a few of them there, how colorful and engaging they are. Those students, I love seeing handwritten letters. And it goes a long way, not only from the standpoint of those farmers and ranchers and other community members to get that letter, but also still working on those students for their writing skills and being thoughtful in their words. So it goes a long way to say that this project reaches a number of not only content standards, but also just building that community within your area. So we appreciate the time. I know that we're right at the 11:45 mark, so I'll leave this little slide on up here while Michelle kind of gives a wrap up. Truly, do you have any questions for us? Feel free to leave those in the comment section. And if not, please follow us on our social media pages, or as you can see there, we've got some email addresses specifically for you guys to go ahead and connect with us if you all have any follow-up questions after this virtual training. So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you.